Bhardwaj Nanunam Bhagava Atma Ramanam Yoga Samirita Jnana Jnana Vabhardita Karma Bijanamayshvaryani Puna Leshadani Bhavitum Arahanti Yatrik Shayo Bhagatani. King Parikshit asked Sukadev Goswami, my dear Lord, for those who are completely pure in heart, knowledge is attained by the practice of Bhakti Yoga. An attachment for fruitive activity is completely burned to ashes. For such people, the powers of Jai Shri Shri Jai Chan Goswami Bhagwan Ki Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharaj Sudarshan Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. For such people, the powers of mystic yoga automatically arise. They do not cause distress. Why then did Rishabdev neglect them? Purport. A pure devotee is constantly engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whatever is necessary for the discharge of devotional service is automatically attained, though it may appear to be the result of mystic yoga power. Sometimes a yogi displays a little yoga power by manufacturing gold. A little quantity of gold captivates foolish people, and thus the yogi gets many followers who are willing to accept such a tiny person as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a yogi may also advertise himself as Bhagavan. However, a devotee does not have to exhibit such magical wonders. Without practicing the mystic yogic process, he achieves even greater opulence all over the world. Under the circumstances, Lord Rishabdev refused to manifest mystic yoga perfections. And Maharaj Parikshit asked why he did not accept them, since for a devotee they are not at all disturbing. A devotee is never distressed or satisfied by material opulence. His concern is how to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If by the grace of the Supreme Lord a devotee achieves extraordinary opulence, he utilizes the opportunity for Lord's service. He is not disturbed by the opulence. Parikshit Maharaj is asking a very interesting question. Now this question is pertaining to opulence. Srila Prabhupada describes that no doubt a great devotee of the Lord can get much more opulence than a mystic yogi, even without doing any endeavors for it. But the highlight in this section is that the Lord Rishabdev is representing such a situation. Lord Rishabdev is outrightly rejecting these opulences. And Parikshit Maharaj's question is that if opulences does come in the life of a devotee can use it in the service of the Lord. So the devotee will not be disturbed. So therefore, why the opulence has been rejected, or why the display of opulence is rejected by a devotee of the Lord? Now this is something quite interesting. So the example which is set forth here by Lord Rishabdev is that a devotee is not interested in material opulences. This goes to show that the purity of one's heart, the condensed bhakti, the condensed bhakti, that condensed desire for taking shelter of the Lord is much more important than any other kind of material opulence. And therefore a devotee is not at all interested in it. So because the devotee is very much aware of the dangers of material opulence, and therefore a devotee wants to maintain distance from it. For example, one time His Holiness Bhakticharu Swami Maharaj was asked this question, that how nice it would be that how about if we can become say an entrepreneur and earning millions of dollars and then donating all those millions of dollars for ISKCON. That would be so nice. Maharaj encouraged, Maharaj is very encouraging, and then Maharaj said that but if I would be in that position, I would rather like to preach to 10 entrepreneurs rather than becoming an entrepreneur myself. As I said, if I become an entrepreneur myself, then I have so many hundreds of thousands of dollars, that's all. But if I am available for preaching, then I can preach to 10 such entrepreneurs. Now, entrepreneurship is now which is more profitable? From a profitable perspective. Maharaj said, okay, if I were to earn, then how much I can earn? And whatever much I can earn, it's only that much. But if I can preach, I can get 10 people, 10 such people to donate for Krishna. So we see this is this is the hallmark. In that sense, we understand bhakti is such a beautiful process. Because although the mission of the Lord requires money, but as a sadhaka, we should never allow that anxiety about money to eat up the head. The head should be filled with Sharanagati for the Supreme Lord, glorification of the Supreme Lord. And how does money come? So when we are anyways serving and we reach out and appeal to people, so some people are inspired to donate the money, and with that money the mission of the Lord moves forward, like that. Now we'll see that a devotee in that sense wants to just act like an instrument. So you see the point. And in that sense, being an instrument is a very stable position. Like suppose if the money were to, say if we were to get earn that money or own that money and then we were to donate, owning the money can lead to contamination and disease. Donating the money can also lead to contamination and disease. One says, okay, I built this company. But on the other hand, if one is simply appealing and begging around, and some people mercifully give some donation, what is the credit of the instrument? So there is no scope for any false pride. And you see, in this sense, this is so that is in this way you see the devotee does not allow the material opulence to come close to himself. He may simply channelize material opulence to come and pass by and get offered to Krishna and glorify Krishna directly. Nowhere coming near oneself. That's what is the. So this is exactly the attitude which a Vaishnava will exhibit. So therefore a Vaishnava doesn't want to do anything which becomes in that sense a controversial example to be shown. A devotee always wants to set an example which even common sadhakas can follow. And that's why in this sense here, the Lord Rishabdev is rejecting all these mystic power opulences is quite fitting to Lord Rishabdev's purpose and goal to be a teacher of bhakti. So he is exhibiting an example of a perfect teacher. that he is not interested in opulences. Rather, we see the example of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. He wanted to run away from his opulences. He had opulences which are naturally bestowed upon him. So much money. So he wanted to run away from it. This is the heart of a devotee. So that devotee is not attached in that sense. The Lord is setting this beautiful example. So we don't gain anything by demonstrating an opulence, but therefore a devotee wants to arrange the opulence. Just like you see Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur build the birthplace temple. He was going door to door and he had capped also maximum donation. I think he used to collect only 1 rupee or some donation, fixed amount of donation from everyone, just so that he wanted to give an opportunity to everyone. Now, a person of such a potential as Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he himself could have made the temple also. And he had the capacity to earn that much money. So, but the nature of the devotee is to inspire and involve everyone. However, if opulence comes on its own accord, a devotee can utilize it in the service of the Lord. But a devotee is not hankering for the opulence. He simply happy in serving the Lord. Rishirvacha Satyam Muktam Kinta Ihava Ekena Manasu Adha Vishrambham Anavasthanasya Shatakirata Iva Sangachante. Srila Sukadeva Goswami replied, "My dear king, you have spoken correctly. However, after capturing animals, a cunning hunter does not put faith in them, for they might run away. Similarly, those who are advanced in spiritual life do not put faith in the mind. Indeed, they always remain vigilant and watch the mind's action." So Sukadeva Maharaj is giving such a beautiful answer that why devotees don't want opulence? Because they do not put faith in the mind. So they don't want to give any scope to the mind to play around. In Bhagavad Gita 18.5, Lord Krishna says, "Yajnana tapa karma natyachyam karyamevata yajnana tapaschaiva pavanani manishinam." So 18.5 speaks that acts of sacrifice, charity and penance are not to be given up, but should be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity and penance purify even the great souls. Even one who has renounced the world and has taken sannyas should not renounce the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Renunciation does not mean that one has to renounce the Sankirtan yet. Similarly, one should not renounce charity or tapasya. The yoga system for control of the mind and senses must be strictly followed. Lord Rishabhdev showed how severe types of tapasya could be followed, and he set an example for all others. So this is quite beautiful. Here it is being explained that no matter whatever be the condition or the situation, the acts of sacrifice, charity and penance should never be given up. Even if one is a great soul, even if one is very advanced, even if there is no need. So our acharyas have exemplified this principle. Srila Madhavendra Puri was ready to walk from Brajabhumi to Shri Kshetra in his 80s, just to uphold the same principle. The acts of sacrifice, charity and penance should not be given up. Srila Sanatana Goswami was not ready to give up Govardhan Parikrama. He used to do the long wounded Govardhan Parikrama, not the 21 kilometers. 42 kilometers, a long one, every single day. And now because of his age, there was no need for him. And he was not, he would be straining himself so much, but he would not give it up. Until Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself brought the Govardhan Shila, Krishna's footprints, and ordered him to just do parikrama 3 times on Raj. So, that is Srila Goswami. It is the same principle. In the same way, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Haridas Thakur, you don't need to chant so much now. You are already Namacharya, you are already liberated. And Haridas Thakur is not ready to accept. And Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, no need for you. Already Namacharya. And he said, no. How can I live without chanting? And then Mahaprabhu is asking, okay, so then what do you want to do? And he said, I cannot live without chanting. Better leave this body. So what I want is, let me leave my body in your lap. And that was his desire. And that was his desire. Mahaprabhu very angry. Mahaprabhu is telling Haridas, how will I survive without you? Shri Haridas Thakur is saying, oh, if an ant leaves the universe, what difference it makes to the whole universe? So Mahaprabhu is not very happy, but Mahaprabhu is saying that, okay, I am bound by your desires. And then Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes, the next day when he comes, Shri Haridas Thakur is watching the face of the Lord. with the feet of the Lord on his chest, with the feet of the Lord on his chest, washing the face of the Lord, and in that way chanting the holy names he left. So the point is the acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance don't have to be given up. Because they are purifying. So properly speaking that yes, this yoga system for control of the mind and senses be strictly followed. So therefore we will see this, and Prabhupada emphasizes this in regards to morning program. Morning program should be strictly followed. Daily services should be strictly followed. Srila Gadadhar Pandit is not able to do deity seva, still he is doing it. Krishna sat down, he said, you are not going to leave deity seva. So let me only sit down. Okay, so you continue. So the Lord sat down, so the Gopinath, Lord Gopinath sat down himself. So this is the point that we have to understand that these principles and activities of devotional service, what we are learning them for eternity. Devotional service is such a beautiful process that we are rewarded or benedicted with the fruit in the form of the means. Because bhakti is a process where means and the fruit is the same. So the culmination of bhakti is chanting of Hare Krishna, and we are introduced chanting on the first day of bhakti. So the means and the fruit is the same, such a beautiful process. What is the difference? The only difference is the pure devotee realizes what he has, whereas the sadhaka does not realize what he has. So pure devotee is chanting, knowing that this is Krishna. And we may be chanting without that awareness. And therefore we are wondering, kab mala khatam hua? I am done with the rounds today. I don't have to look at it again. Kal subah se pehle. Enough. I am liberated. This kind of thought process goes, this is a very materially conditioned disease thought process. But even though we don't have realization for the value of the very activities and opportunities of devotional service what we are getting, the Acharyas explain that at least intellectually we should drill this point in, that nothing in Krishna consciousness is ordinary, everything is extraordinary. But one should intellectually drill this understanding in one's consciousness that whatever service opportunity I am getting, that is a great privilege. That is very rare. And Krishna has been supremely merciful that I am getting this opportunity. So seva is a privilege. We may not realize it because of our impure state of existence. But we can accept it, at least intellectually, on the basis of the words of the Shastras and the Acharyas. And when we do that, we will value each and every activity of devotional service. That is why a devotee may not want to give up any limb of devotional service, because he really understands the value and importance of any limb of devotional service. Sometimes I have seen devotees are very excited. Yeah, the devotee doesn't give it up. Because service is a privilege. And how this privilege can be given up? And the more the devotee realizes the value of it, the more he doesn't want to give it up. Sometimes I have seen some devotees, they are very excited about when the Janmashtami day is ending, the devotees are very excited, And I remember my interface with the temple. Many devotees were telling, "Hey, Janmashtami night very special." I said, "What is that?" I said, "Anyway, it is special." And they said that the next day morning more special. I said, "What is more special next day morning?" That is the only time in the entire year calendar that in any ISKCON temple you are not woken up. And even if you don't wake up, you are not seen in bad eyes. I say that, so that officially you can sleep, till any time, like officially you can sleep. And that was a very shabby, one of the very shabbiest introductions I ever heard. And officially you can sleep like that. So, a sincere devotee will not look for any kind of excuses. A sincere devotee will not look for any kind of excuses. A sincere devotee, no matter whatever be the cost. I remember Bhakti Charu Maharaj was there in Calcutta for a good long time. Maharaj was there, more than a week. And Maharaj was giving everyday Bhagavatam classes. Maharaj used to come every day for morning program. Later we came to know that there was some problem happening in South Africa. And Maharaj used to be on the call for 2-3 hours, and the timing would be this 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the night. So practically he was not sleeping, but he was up there for the morning program. And then he would give Bhagavatam class, and after class he would do meetings, and then he would take prasad with devotees. He would invite all the devotees and take prasad with them and talk to them. And then there would be disciples coming in to meet him. And then evening, Maharaj would be giving katha. And then he would do 2 hours lecture, and then 3 hours question answers. Like that. So we saw him practically actually. The point is a devotee doesn't give up any service. Now we may wonder why it was the topic or the issue was Calcutta Temple. The topic or the issue was of the Calcutta Temple renovation, and Bhakti Charu Maharaj was so eager for it. So he got the altar. This was the altar before. 2009, this was the altar in Albert Road, Minto Park. And Bhakti Charu Maharaj said, altar, I'll get the altar. And then the devotees were saying, but Maharaj, funds, take time, to gather all that. Maharaj said, I'll sponsor. Don't worry. So I remember Bhakti Charu Maharaj got the altar made, the present altar, Minto Park. He got it funded also. He transported it also. Yeah. No? So, Mr. Maharaj was so enthusiastic for it. Yes, because you see, a devotee, that's the heart of a devotee, because he values that service, and therefore he was ready to do anything and everything. And I remember then all around the paintings, and Radhanand Maharaj said, I will take responsibility of getting the paintings. So Maharaj got the paintings made. Maharaj brought the paintings also. And he just gave the message, the paintings have reached Calcutta airport, please collect it. Yeah, Maharaj got the paintings also, like that. And those paintings are still there. And that's the whole point, that the devotee is because the devotee understands more and more the value of the service the devotee wants to give it. So every service to Krishna is absolute. And to understand that, it really takes one to be a genuine devotee of the Lord. But every devotee can intellectually understand these aspects. And understanding this, one can take every service as a privilege. So therefore, this is the same reason why Ghanshyam Das Babaji Maharaj was not ready to give his buckets of water to Radhanath Maharaj. Because he was saying, my service to Krishna is my life. If you take away my service, you are taking away my life. Then what remains? So Maharaj could not hold the buckets. He kept on the buckets. No? And Ghanshyam Baba would take 1 hour to come back, bringing Yamunaji's water to bathe his deities every day. And it was only a 5 minutes walk for a young person. So this is the point, that the so therefore the right consciousness. So when we do a hectic service, if we aim for relaxing for the next 3 days, 2 days, 4 days, 5 days, that's not a very healthy attitude. Like sometimes devotees feel, oh, what a camp, now 10 days I will sleep, Not a very healthy attitude, A devotee's attitude should be, oh, what a camp, tomorrow should be another camp. That is a real Vaishnava. I would say that tomorrow should be next camp. And this way, the eternity camps can keep going on, so that I can go on serving the eternity. So therefore it is being said here that when Lord Rishabdev is showing the severe types of tapasya, he is setting an example for others to follow. Tadha choktam Puriya karnichit sakhyam Manasihi anavasthite Yad vishram bhakchidakshirnam Shaskanda tapa aishwaram. All the learned scholars have given their opinion. The mind is by nature very restless, and one should not make friends with it. If we place full confidence in the mind, it may cheat us at any moment. Even Lord Shiva became agitated upon seeing the Mohini form of Lord Krishna. And Saugari Muni also fell down from the mature stage of yogic perfection. Purport. The first business of one trying to advance in spiritual life, yeah, maybe one of you can go and check if the sadhana started or not. Started? The first business of one trying to advance in spiritual life is to control the mind and senses. As Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 5:15-7, Mamivansha jivaloke eva bodha sanatana manashasthani indriyani prakriti sthani karhiche. Prakriti sthani karshati. Although the living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord and are therefore in a transcendental position, they are still suffering in this material world and struggling for existence due to the mind and the senses. To get out of this false struggle for existence and become happy in the material world, one has to control the mind and senses and be detached from material conditions. One should never neglect austerities and penances. One should always perform them. Lord Rishabhdev personally showed us how to do this. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is specifically stated, Matra sastratu mitrava na viviktasano bhavet balavan indriya gramo vidvanchamapi karshati. A grahastha, vanaprastha, sannyasi and brahmachari should be very careful when associating with woman. One is forbidden to sit down in a solitary place, even with one's mother, sister or daughter. In our Krishna consciousness movement, it has been very difficult to dissociate ourselves from women in our society, especially in the Western countries. We are therefore sometimes criticized. But nonetheless, we are trying to give everyone a chance to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and thus advance spiritually. If we stick to the principle of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra offenselessly, then by the grace of Srila Haridas Thakur, we may be saved from the allurement of woman. However, if we are not very strict in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we may at any time fall victim to woman. So here we see Lord Rishabhdev is giving special emphasis to control of the mind and senses. Especially what should not be given up is controlling the mind and senses. This thread is being emphasized, that when it comes to controlling the mind and senses, there is no limit. Every time we have to control the mind and senses. Srila Prabhupada gives the example of wild animal. A wild carnivorous animal, predator, has to be always kept in the trap. If the wild animal is let loose even for a few minutes, it will eat up everyone. For example, if a tiger is in cage, the tiger is requesting just 2 minutes, let me go out. And you may think, okay, it's just 2 minutes. But in 2 minutes, he can eat everyone. That's the nature of. So that is exactly the mind. It's a wild animal. It's a tiger. And this tiger should be in the cage always. Strictly. Not 2 minutes also. Not 2 minutes also. So we are seeing that actually the principles of advancement in spiritual life are the same for all ashramas. Prabhupada is saying, whether it is grahastha or vanaprastha or sannyasi or brahmachari, everyone has to keep distance from women. No one is given the license to mix with women. No one, not even a grahastha. So one should very carefully apply this principle. One should very carefully apply this principle at all times. Many times, as devotees grow in age, they become a little loose. They feel that, okay, I am such a steady devotee. I will not be affected if I preach to Mataji's woman. Many times people feel like that. Now the devotee feeling may be a brahmachari, maybe a grahastha, maybe a vanaprastha, maybe a sannyasi. It doesn't matter. And we have seen most of such cases, such a devotee falls prey, falls victim to sinful activities, sensual activities in due course of time. So Maya is very strong. Therefore, better not challenge, better not test. Uninvited testification is not required. Certain people feel, no, let me test how much Maya is there. And that test is that uninvited testification is very hazardous. So devotee does not want to prove himself as a macho man by embracing the uninvited test and then passing it. That's the whole point. So better to consider oneself as not having the power to handle it and take very tight shelter or tightly grab Krishna's lotus feet, Krishna's instructions, the lips of devotional service. Than to be a super expert and become callous and meet with an accident. Just like Bible says, no, the kingdom of God will be inherited by the meek and humble. those who are meek and humble, they are the ones who are going to inherit the kingdom of God. So therefore, controlling the mind and senses is a prime duty of a sadhaka. Here Srila Prabhupada is explaining that especially in the Western temples, it's not possible to segregate the Matajis and ladies. But the devotee should consciously take shelter of Krishna, and if they consciously take shelter of Krishna, they will be offered protection. Anyways, in this world, it is very difficult to avoid woman or the opposite gender. Anywhere in the world, in any undertaking in this world. So in that sense, one needs to learn, everyone needs to learn how to see Mataji respectfully as part and parcel of Krishna. Not meant for Krishna's enjoyment, not our own shabby enjoyment. So we can see, the nature of Maya Shakti is that, and you see, most of the time Maya may be near us, but if we don't give an invitation signal, then the material energy will not enter our hearts. We open the doors of our heart, and then only the material energy enters our heart. That's our point. It is we who open up our hearts, and this is what Prabhupada is addressing. If we don't open up our hearts to material sense gratification, where is Maya going to enter our hearts? So therefore Prabhupada is making the point that if we are not very strict in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we may at any time fall victim to woman. At max, Maya, most of the times, Maya only shows us. It is we who chase after Maya. It is we who chase after Maya. At max, Maya sometimes knocks the door. but it is still we who open the door. From the corner of the eye, I understand it is Maya knocking the door. Then what is the need for us to open the door? So, in that sense, we will see that in any kind of obsession by Maya Shakti or victimization by Maya, there is a great hand of the living entity himself. That the living entity only willingly and willfully accepts, embraces Maya. Then only the living entity gets spoiled. And that is why at any given point of time a sadhaka has to maintain a very good spiritual strength by intense sadhana, by a very busy life of service, and by heartily serving Vaishnavas. So one receives blessings. Nityam dadati kamasya chitram tam anujyet shayah. Yogina krita maitrasya patyo chayeva pushali. An unchaste woman is very easily carried away by paramours, and it sometimes happens that her husband is violently killed by her paramours. If the yogi gives his mind a chance and does not restrain it, his mind will give facility to enemies like lust, anger and greed, and they will doubtlessly kill the yogi. Purport. In this verse, the word Pumshali refers to a woman who is easily carried away by men. Such a woman is never to be trusted. Unfortunately, in the present age, women are never controlled. According to the direction of the Shastras, women are never to be given freedom. When a child, a woman must be strictly so when a child, a woman must be strictly controlled by her father. When she is young, she must be strictly controlled by the husband. When she is old, she must be strictly controlled by her elder sons. If she is given independence, allowed to mingle unrestrictedly with men, she will be spoiled. A spoiled woman being manipulated by paramours might even kill her husband. This example is given here because a yogi, desiring to get free from material conditions, must always keep his mind under control. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say that in the morning, our first business should be to beat the mind with shoes 100 times, and before going to bed, to beat the mind 100 times with a broomstick. In this way, one's mind can be kept under control. An uncontrolled mind and an unchaste wife are the same. An unchaste wife can kill her husband at any time, and an uncontrolled mind followed by lust, anger, greed, madness, envy and illusion can certainly kill the yogi. When the yogi is controlled by the mind, he falls down into material conditions. So one should be very careful of the mind, just as a husband should be careful of an unchaste wife. So here in Srila Prabhupada is very beautifully comparing the or you can say, okay, Lord Rishabdev himself is very beautifully comparing the mind to be an unchaste woman. Why is the mind compared to an unchaste woman? Because the mind does not stabilize at the lotus feet of the Lord, and the mind restlessly keeps on flickering from one material object to another material object. Now it is said that, you see, now two things are being said. First of all,